Hello and welcome to the State of Culture. A school principal is associated with discipline, but rarely do you come across one who is celebrated for his values and sentiments. 5 generations of modernites celebrate the 100th birth anniversary of their beloved principal, the late M.N.Kapur, who has been credited for shaping the characters of some of India's icons. A State of Culture special. The Modern School Old Students Association, or MSOSA as it is popularly called, is celebrating the 100th birth anniversary of its legendary principal, the late Padma Shri M.N.Kapur. As part of the centenary celebrations, the 52-year-old body organized a sports day at the campus, which is now a heritage building, a talk by Saida Hamid, member, Planning Commission, a concert by Madhup Mudgil, famous vocalist and guru, both modernites, a concert by modernites Amjad Ali Khan and his sons Aman and Ayan, and a book release in March, which will include articles by and on Mr. Kapur, to be curated by his daughter and art historian Geeta Kapur and designed by Aman Nath. This will be accompanied by a film on the legendary guru by television personality Abhinav Chaturvedi. Mahendra Nath Kapur, affectionately known as MNK, was a noted educationist of his time. He charted modern school's course for 30 years, and under his guidance, the school touched new heights of success and established itself as a leading Indian school. M.N.Kapur was a principled and compassionate human being. When teaching in Mayo College in the early years of the 20th century, he insisted that the authorities, British at that time, accorded equal respect to the Indian employees that they did to the British and the school's Royal Indian patrons. In modern school too, he instilled the Indian values of Gandhiji and Vinoba Bhave, both of whom had visited the school amongst other luminaries, which included presidents and prime ministers of the country. He blended Western and Indian values in a school that became a model for other Indian public schools, which primarily emulated the British system. One of the changes he brought about, for instance, was that the students sit cross-legged on dharis on the floor during morning assembly instead of in chairs as was the norm elsewhere. Mr. Kapur made the school not just one for the elite, but one with equality of class, creed, caste and sex. Many leaders in the field of arts, science and medicine in India and abroad graduated from its distinguished portals. MNK was a compassionate man and adopted underprivileged or impoverished people, providing them with jobs so that they could live with dignity, and gave their children admission in the school. Blankets were distributed to the homeless poor in the winter by the staff and students, and a bazaar was held in the school campus for domestic helpers, wives and children. The women were also taught a craft to help them supplement their income. An exuberant nature with genuine care of his pupils, he had the ability to be one with them. The children nicknamed him Bond, not only because he bonded well with them, but also because he would silently appear on a scene of trouble with his rubber-soled shoes, startling the troublemakers. Years later, in one of the school plays, a student recited a couplet which he never forgot because it epitomized his own approach to life. Idhar aa sitamgar hunar azmaye, tu teer azma, hum jigar azmaye. Come, O tyrant, let us try our skills. You try the bow and arrow, I try my heart.
On behalf of MSOSA, M.N.Kapur Memorial Fund and Modernites Trust, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to this event to celebrate the centenary of our guru and mentor, Mr. M.N.Kapur, former principal of Modern School. Would like to share a few snippets which describe Mr. Kapur's first day in school in 1947. And this first contribution is from Mr. Satish Bahadur, who was in the school from 1947 to 1953. Is he here today? Quote, a warm and sultry afternoon. All of us sitting on the dharis on the floor. Does it sound familiar? House-wise, there were just 5 houses those days. A group of teachers enter in a file led by Mr. Rajpal, acting principal, who introduces this tall, fair, handsome young man as your new principal. Mr. Rajpal was a very lovable soul Although he was, in terms of build, he was of a small build, contrary to Mr. Kapur, as we all know. Passing of the baton to the next generation could not have been more symbolic of a new modern school on the threshold of great things to come, unquote. Mr. Kapur's impact on young minds was simply awesome, whether it was 1947 or 1977. He touched the lives of modernites like no other.
Friends, I feel most privileged to welcome you this evening. This is a very special memorial event organized to commemorate the 100th birth anniversary of my father, Mr. M.N.Kapur. He was born on December 20, 1910. His life's career moves across like a straight, clean arrow from the day of his graduation from the Government College, Lahore, 1926-1932, to his 1 year at the Institute of Education in London, 1935-36, to his many years of teaching at the Mayo College, Ajmer, 1933-47, and then at the very eve of Indian independence in 1947, his move to Delhi's Modern School, where he was principal for 30 years until 1977. After his retirement, he advised several educational institutions and was the director of Gyan Bharati School from 1982 to 1990. He died in 1994. Mr. M.N.Kapur's lifelong commitment to education was a commitment to the process of learning. He often thought about how to sequence learning in terms of curriculum. He set out aims, forms, and methods, and he weighed the result of educating and being educated. He thought about what mental dispositions the process seeks to cultivate and nurture.
वो जो मेरे आज और मेरे कल का फासला है, मेरा आज जिसकी बुनियाद मॉडर्न स्कूल में रखी गई. Let me recall a few moments. When I entered modern school, I brought with me an emotional baggage which was hard to share even with friends. As a small girl, I had my first experience of rejection due to my Muslim identity. It stemmed, albeit randomly, from the post-partition trauma of families who had been displaced from West Punjab, condemned to migrate to the east and live in refugee camps. In the playground of the elite Sujan Singh Park, neighborhood kids refused to play with me once they realized I was a Muslim. Although this rather tragic story had a happy ending, and I ended up making many friends, but the self-consciousness of religious identity never left me entirely, that is, until I entered modern school. And Mr. Kapur, he was the alchemist who turned my trauma to triumph. In modern school, I became just an ordinary kid, not a Muslim girl who in the eyes of other kids was shamefully different. Today, I want to salute the memory of this wonderful human being for giving me the first chance to literally be myself.
Guru